Hi friends, it's Em, and today I am back with another video. We are setting up my September book journal, and let me tell you, I feel like I've read more books in the last 3 days than I have in like the last 3 months. It doesn't make any sense to me, but we're back. We are doing a sort of kind of usual junk journal-y, scrapbooky kind of thing. I'm using these stickers from the new Archer and Olive fall launch, which they're so pretty. And honestly, I like having 2 of each sticker because then I don't feel as pressured to like have the perfect place for the first sticker. And then I also, like this gorgeous freaking bird frame, I get 2 of them. So like even if I mess up the first one, I can fix the second one. It's fine. But September. This month, I swear, is gonna be cozy as hell. I also just bought my new September Book of the Month picks, and when I tell you, I went hard. I got 4, I think, because I've realized that in order to actually finish their little like challenge thing, that you actually have to kind of game the system a little bit, whether it's buying books that you're gonna like or you're gonna read, or just like different genres, because unless you start doing their audio books, which I could do that, but I'm not. I don't know, their audiobooks seem unreasonably expensive, especially since I'm a Libro subscriber, so like if I'm gonna get an audiobook, I'm gonna get it there. But you need half of the little challenge things are for audiobooks, so those are already out, which means I need to read debuts or long books or 6 different genres, which, considering what they classify as a fantasy, they don't seem to have a sci-fi classification. That will never make sense to me, but that's where we're at. So I picked up a bunch of books that I'm excited about. Let me open up my little account so I can look at them. One of them, it's this mystery thriller that I'm just literally so excited about, and it's called All the Colors of the Dark. And one of my friends who's like not typically like a mystery thriller type reader, like when I feel like, usually when you ask them what they're reading, they would say like a romance book or something, but they really liked it. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm game. I also snagged As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow, because I've been really wanting to read that. I have the audio, but I just need a little more incentive and, trying to game the system a little bit. And they had an early release of The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love, which I think is classified as historical fiction. And if I'm gonna read a historical fiction, it better be about birds. So that's about where I'm at on that. I also feel like half of the books that I put on my TBR for September, it's August 30th right now, and I've read a lot of them already because they were books that I wanted to read or books that I had put in my pile. Because, oh yes, I have a pile. So I recently reorganized my guest room, put up a bunch of different shelves, and then moved all of my books around. So now I have an actual TBR shelf. And so at the beginning of the week, if I don't have any books in my pile, I go upstairs and I get some books from my TBR to put on my pile. So some books that are currently in my pile would be A Love Like the Sun, The God of the Woods, Death at Morning House, and honestly, I think that's about it in terms of the pile, because I keep reading them now, which is good. That's a good thing, don't get me wrong. But it means normally when I say, oh yeah, this is a book, I don't know what it's about. Well, I do know what it's about because I read it. Like, oh my goodness. Although that's actually not entirely true, because sometimes I just read a book and it's in one ear, out the other. I don't know. But I love this little gallery wall that we're making. Very, very, very pleasant to me. My buddy reads have been going strong with my mother. We just finished Rabbit Hole by, I think, Kate Brody. I do not recommend it. I did not enjoy it. I thought that it was just really anticlimactic. If it hadn't been pitched as a mystery and was more just like a literary fiction sort of like depiction of grief, I think I would have liked it more. But here I thought it was going to be a mystery. I thought we were going to get satisfaction at the end. Nothing. Nada. But the good news is that my mom picked that book, so I get to pick the next book. So if you have any ideas for what me and my mom can buddy read next, let me know. I will also be buddy reading Apprentice to the Villain, which is on my regular TBR, but sequel to Assistant to the Villain. I'm expecting cozy fantasy, really just sort of like a fun romp with, limited repercussions. And I hope that it meets that. It's a really low bar, honestly. I really enjoyed the first one. I hope I really enjoy the second. Easy peasy. In other news, things that were on my TBR last month that are still there include Vilest Things by Chloe Gong. Basically this entire year it feels like I've just been reading Chloe Gong's backlist. And Vilest Things is finally something that's not her backlist. Can't wait to see how the Antony and Cleopatra duology turns out. I'm also finishing Our Violent Ends. And by finishing, I mean I started it and I'm 12% in, but I'm finishing that duology. Very, very excited. God of the Woods, which is, I think it's classified as literary fiction, but it looked really good. Something about someone who goes missing at a camp and then maybe somebody else goes missing. It doesn't take that much for me to pick up a book these days. I'm like, that sounds kind of okay. I could do that. And then, of course, Maureen Johnson, one of my favorite authors, just dropped Death at Morning House. Got denied for the arc on NetGalley, which only made me want it more. But I'm really excited to read it. I know that it's not in her Truly Devious series, which is cool. It's good. I like a little standalone action. That's totally fine. The Wedding People was on my TBR when I made this. I finished it 2 days ago, and I'm not saying that book sent me into a depressive episode, but I'm not saying that it didn't help. Okay? I'll talk a little bit more about that in my August wrap-up, because I have a lot of thoughts. But A Pirate's Life for Tea is still on the radar. Also, the third book is coming out at some point, and the title, I can't even remember it, but it's so freaking cute, because people are getting married, I think? I don't know. And then I also got approved for Graveyard Shift by ML Rio, I think. They're the one who wrote If We Were Villains. And I liked If We Were Villains, so I requested this book because it had been a while. And that's all I know. But I think it will be fall vibes. And fall vibes are definitely what I need, because it was 94 degrees the other day and I just want it to not be that warm. I also put on A Sorceress Comes to Call, which is a fantasy. Also one of my Book of the Month books, because we're trying to just sort of smash that challenge out of the park. And I don't know what it's about really. I assume there's a sorceress who comes to call. Pretty simple in that regard. But it's gonna be fantasy. I love a fantasy. I love a fall fantasy. That's my vibes. I also, literally as of today, just finished Fang Fiction, which I had on here. And I will talk about that also in my August reads, because it was freaking phenomenal. But vampire, fantasy, contemporary, Kate Stayman London, yeah. I also, so they have the Kindle on Peloton now, and one of my reads on there was What Happened to Helen Rochester, but the problem now is that I'm too invested, and I had wanted it to be I only read this book when I'm on the Kindle, or when I'm on the Peloton, but I can't do that anymore because I really need to finish it. So I'm currently reading that, and I'm really excited. And then our book club pick, conveniently enough, is A Love Like the Sun. I know next to nothing about this book except that it is a romance. The cover is beautiful and it's a BIPOC author, so obviously I am all about it. I've also definitely noticed lately that since my NetGalley shelf has gotten smaller, there's less of a, oh, I need to read this book right this second, and I can actually look at lesser known titles, but also like things that I've wanted to read for a while. So like I just picked up Demon Copperhead, which is sizable, first of all. Although I did the Barnes & Noble edition, it's rainbow colored. It's awesome. And I'm like, I actually could read this if I want to. Like, I'm definitely gonna be reducing, I think, the amount of books that I read. Or at least the amount of arcs, because then I can read so much other stuff. But that also might just be until I get my TBR under control, let's be real. Because I did also just buy All This and More by Peng Shepherd, because I know it's a choose your own adventure. I had it on audio, but I didn't think that it would translate as well. Like, you know, in audio, oh, click to go to this chapter or something. I wanna have my hands in the pages for that one. So I think that's on like my secret TBR. Which is like, you know, a book that I want to read, but I didn't write down as wanting to read it. I don't know. Am I being ridiculous? Or do you also sometimes have like aspirational TBRs that, you know, you are the ones you really want to read, but you just don't say it out loud? Let me know. There will be a July wrap-up and an August wrap-up coming, but if you liked this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and comment down below what you're currently reading and recommending, because we all know I need more reads. And as always, happy planning.